This is my new handy cam, and it's just a little thing, Sony. But I want to comment on some more patterns I've seen with this Voynich manuscript. And that's the wonderful thing about the web, is that we can look through it and see anomalies that are been throughout history and maybe link things. Now, as we know, the ancient Egyptians used symbols. They were both phonetic, which means they meant what you looked at, I think. I'm not an expert at this, but I think the owl meant an owl, but it also meant maybe to fly or at night or something. And the foot meant, well, maybe it's a foot, but it also meant to travel, or I'm not quite sure about that. Anyway, they used what's called hieroglyphs or pictograms. This is, and I don't read them or anything like that, but just for the sake, we have an A here, an A there, and a B means a foot, G, that's a cutting tool. There's a lion, and it also means L. This was deciphered when they found a stone in, I believe, Rosetta, Egypt. They called it Rosetta Stone, and it was a flat stone that was a monument to a king at that time. It was written in Coptic and hieroglyphs, and then it was written in Greek, and that was the way a gentleman in France was able to see a pattern between the hieroglyph and the Greek writing, and he started to decipher everything. The thing about the Voynich manuscript, sorry, is that we don't have anything to compare it to. And these are more things. Now, what we believe is that a human wrote this manuscript. I don't believe that. I don't believe it for a minute. This is one pattern I've noticed, that I've seen. In 1947 in Roswell. Now, I don't know if any of this happened, but it's interesting. It could all be bullshit. It's just an interesting mystery. I have no idea. I have no... I may not even know what I'm talking about. But in 1947 in Roswell, a couple of spaceships, saucers, they supposedly crashed during a lightning storm. And they had little bodies in them, and the military brought the bodies into a hospital. Now, this was what a nurse had drawn of what she saw. They were about 3 feet tall, and they were like humans, but they had a small mouth, black eyes, I guess. The interesting part is they had arms and hands like us, but they had no opposing thumb, no opposable thumb. Opposable thumb is what you use to hold on to a pencil or a pen. Okay, without that, it's really hard to do anything if you don't have an opposable digit. So the top of the hands look fine, but the bottom of the hands, this is what caught my eye. It has little sensor pads on them, if you'll notice. Now, this nurse could have made all this up. It all could be made up, or maybe not. But I believe that there may be some truth to it, because I noticed a pattern between this and the Voynich. I call it Voynich, I don't know why. Voynich manuscript. Now, also during the time that this happened, one of the army captains or soldiers that was there found a piece of the ship, and it was an I-beam like this, a small I-beam, and it had these symbols on it, and these are twice the regular size, which they would have been about, I don't know, an inch tall maybe, in regular size, but they're all different, if you'll notice. Now the thing about this is they were done, what he claims is they were, look like the color, what I recall, figures is about twice the actual size. All the characters were in violet. So they were dark. It also says written in embossed on the inner surface of the fragment of the I-beam. Now it didn't say it was colored on there. It was embossed. It's very important for my theory anyway. I'm trying this new camera. I don't know how well it's going to work. Here's another look at, his name was Jesse Marcel. I guess he was a doctor and he passed away. The important thing is that they were symbols and they were embossed. And they were about half an inch tall, to 3/4 of an inch tall. And here's another I-beam fragment. Now, why would an advanced civilization have embossed symbols on their parts? Well, I have a theory about that. And then we get to the Voynich Manuscript, and I have seen patterns that make a lot of sense to me, but of course the only time I've seen the manuscript is on the computer, as far as I don't have a book on it, or I don't have a complete knowledge of it. I'm going to see if I can post this.